What is going on today, guys? So today I want to kind of do a semi-quick video talking about food storage or prepper food, whatever you want to call it. I want to kind of give you guys the bullet point version of the different types of prep food there are out there, comparing them and giving you guys my opinions on what's better or what you should have, that kind of thing. I'm not going to go into too much detail on any one particular type of food storage. I may do other videos going into a little more detail, maybe showing some examples and things like that, but I kind of want to make this more of a general video. And the reason I want to do this now is because, first of all, this whole last year has just been crazy. We've seen supply chain shortages, we've seen food shortages, just because of people panic buying in some cases, and in others just because there actually are less people manufacturing food. We're in the middle of a chicken shortage right now because these processing plants can't find people to work at the factories. We're about to go into a beef shortage because the world's largest beef manufacturer has had to close down all their plants because of a ransomware attack, including 7 plants here in the United States. There's a lot going on, and all prep items are kind of just insurance for bad times, right? We know this. Food is no different. It's insurance for a bad economy, natural disasters, losing your job, whatever. And especially going into what we're dealing with right now, obviously this is something that's a good idea. So there are several different types of food storage. First of all, there's canned food storage. Everybody has that. It's very easy to stock up on. Get yourself some extra cans of stuff. I try to when I can. Not all things are, but some things are what they call shelf stable. For instance, Hormel products. Hormel canned products are what they call shelf stable. What that means is as long as the can is not opened or damaged in any way, essentially that food can last forever. There are a lot of things on the can aisle in the grocery store that aren't shelf stable, but they still will last a really long time, usually much longer than even if they have a date says they'll last. That date is kind of there as a liability thing more than anything else. I'm not saying you should stock up on a bunch of expired food or anything like that, but just keep that in mind. Canned food storage, shelf stable canned food storage is really easy and pretty affordable to stock up on. You can just fill up your pantry or shelves or whatever, or maybe just put up a rack in your closet. It's pretty easy to do. Next up is dry goods. Dry goods, very simple. Cereal, pastas, rice, beans, things like that, right? Things that you're probably gonna have to cook, unless of course we're talking about cereal. Those things are easy to store, and they actually go along with another type of food storage I'm going to talk about here in just a second. But that stuff, again, just like the canned goods, very easy to stock up on. You should have some in your house. You should probably have extra in your house, just like with the canned stuff. It's stuff you can crack into really quick and either eat like it is or cook up or whatever it is. Very important to have that stuff in your house. Then we've got like prep food, i.e. Prepper's Pantry, Wise Foods, Mountain House, that type of stuff. Stuff that you buy that's pre-packed, freeze-dried, whatever, already ready to go, usually has a 15 to 25 year shelf life. That stuff's great. It is more expensive, but not too much more expensive, honestly, when you break down the calories and servings for a lot of this stuff. But you're paying because somebody else has stored it in a way in which it's going to last a really long time, much longer than anything at your grocery store that you could get on your own. So keep that in mind, but it is a good thing to have. Then we come to vacuum sealing. Now vacuum sealing for me goes in line with dry goods, okay? It's a good idea if you've got lots of dry goods, you're storing up lots of stuff, pastas, rice, things like that. Get yourself a vacuum sealer. You can pick them up for like 50 bucks at Walmart. Get yourself some good thick heavy duty freezer vacuum sealer bags and start sealing some of your stuff up, and you can throw it in a tote and stick it under a bed or on a shelf or wherever. It's a good way to get extra life out of your dry goods is by vacuum sealing them. So it's something I definitely recommend, and it's not that hard or expensive to do other than the initial investment in the vacuum sealer itself, which again, you can pick them up for 50 bucks. You can probably pick them up cheaper than that, and you can pick them up for as expensive as 200 if you want to get a really high-end one, but you don't need a high-end one to do that. Then let's talk about the one that the people tend to talk about a lot but don't really know how to do it very well, and that's Mylar. Sealing things in Mylar bags. This is the most difficult of all the things that we've talked about. It's also the thing that I think gets overused a lot. It's important to have, but I see far too many people vacuum sealing, or excuse me, Mylar sealing 5-gallon buckets of rice and beans, and that's great, I guess, if at some point you're going to need 5 gallons of rice or beans all at once. I recommend vacuum sealing or sealing in smaller Mylar bags, not the big 5-gallon ones, because once you open that, that's it. For those that don't understand how the process works, you take a bucket, you put a Mylar bag in it, you fill it with whatever you're going to fill it with, you throw in some O2 absorbers that suck the oxygen out of the package. You throw it in there with the food, and then you seal it up, usually with like an iron or something like that, and the Mylar seals together. Again, it's the most difficult way to store food. It's also the way that I think it's misused the most, but it's still an important way that you should definitely at least look into when it comes to storing stuff. Now, as far as all those go, which ones are the best? Honestly, none of them are the best and none of them are the worst. To me, they're all different aspects of your food storage, okay? To me, they're all different things you should have. Your canned goods and your dry goods are good for short-term storage, stuff you're going to reuse anyway, so you keep extra of it. You know, vacuum sealing, prep food, Mylar, all that kind of stuff, that's for long-term storage. You should have that as well. I say do some of all of this. Have a little bit of everything because it's all good in its own way. Now, once you've done that, let's talk about the biggest issue that I see with people storing food, and that's temperature. Period, point blank, temperature. Depending on where you live, you can't just store this food in your garage or in a shed. Most of this stuff that we're talking about, even if it is pre-sealed in Mylar or vacuum sealed or from Wise Foods or whatever it might be, it can't get hot. You can't store it someplace that gets over, let's say, 78 to 80 degrees. Once you hit 80 degrees, food starts to degrade no matter what kind of package it's in. So that's great if you have a garage to store stuff in, because I know you don't want to store this stuff under your bed or in a closet, right? And you may not have the pantry space for all this stuff, all this food that you want to store up. But unless you live in an area where the temperature is always, let's say, 78 or lower, or you have a climate-controlled garage, don't do it. You need to find a place to keep it where it will be climate-controlled, where you can keep it at, again, at least I say 78 degrees or lower. Some people will say up to 85 degrees. I don't think that's safe. I think you're going to degrade your food more, so I say 78 degrees or lower. Put it in a closet. Put it under your bed. If you've got a big pantry, cool. Maybe make extra space in your kitchen and some of the other shelves or whatever it might be. There are ways you can do it. You know your house, you know your layout, but you need to keep all this stuff climate controlled. So that's basically it. You got canned goods, shelf stable, dry goods, vacuum sealing, Mylar sealing, prep food, and don't forget the temperature, very, very important. So that's it. That's the basics. I think they're all important. I think you should grab some canned goods, some shelf-stable stuff, vacuum seal some dry goods, then just have some dry goods in your pantry. Go get a vacuum sealer and vacuum seal up some of the food that you want to store for a little longer. Maybe do have some Mylar buckets, some smaller ones, not 5 gallon, maybe 1 or 2 or 3 gallon buckets of beans and rice, and seal those up with O2 absorbers. And then of course, hey, I take advantage of deals all the time from Wise Foods and I can't even remember all the names of the places, Prepper's Pantry, and there's one, My Liberty something or other. All these places, I get on their mailing lists, and then whenever they have sales where it's like, oh, get a 72-hour kit for 10 bucks free shipping. Okay, and I'll order a bunch of them, or whatever it might be. So get on their mailing list, find out when these places are having sales, and just order stuff as you can. So that's pretty much it. That is the basics of prep food storage. Hope you found it useful. You got any questions or comments, leave that down below, and we will talk to you guys later. Peace.